Okay, so I started this YouTube channel, I want to say formally back in like 2017. And I started it just as a place for me to share information about my journey as a retail associate, retail manager, things of that nature. And I really just wanted to provide information for free. And so I did that consistently. And as a result of that, I started to build what I came to know as a community. So at the time, I really was just concerned about, keeping up with my weekly schedule of how many times I wanted to share a new video, and obviously, growing my subscriber base so that I could get paid from YouTube. But what I did not realize was that I was making a much greater impact in the lives of a bunch of people all at once. Welcome to my channel where we talk about boutiques, e-commerce, business, and all things making money online. So before I go too deeply into how I made money as building a community, I want to tell you about how I was able to build a community, and it really started with YouTube. I would say that the biggest difference about my YouTube channel in comparison to a lot of other people's YouTube channels is that I have been really consistent for the last, how many years has that been? Almost 7 years consistently. I've been talking about the same thing. I've been talking about retail, boutiques, vendors, Shopify, so on and so forth. And I haven't really strayed away from talking about those topics. And so as a result of that, I have consistently gained an audience or a new audience of people interested in those relatable topics. So the thing that you want to know about building a community is that it is most easy when you're clear about what your overarching message is and what the topic of your messaging is going to be. And ultimately, the more consistent you are, the more consistently you're going to attract an audience of people who become your community. Wouldn't it be cool to get insider data and tips and tricks and just a behind the scenes look of what's going on in my business every week inside of your inbox? I know it would, and I want to invite you to do that. So if you click the link in the description, I am going to invite you guys to join up for my newsletter, where I will send you an email every single week that will contain really fun things regarding what's going on in my business, some of my students' businesses, what's going on in the industry, what are the newest updates with Shopify and all those cool apps that we use, and really generally everything that you need to know about growing your online business, e-commerce, boutique, whatever it is that you do, I'm going to help you grow it, okay? So throughout these years, I shared all this content, and at some point, people started saying things like, I wish I could do a call with you. I wish I could take a class. Do you have a class? I did not. And it really wasn't on my radar to do either of those things. I wasn't really looking to coach anybody. I wasn't even looking to start a business just yet, but I could see the impact of the content that I was sharing and how quickly it was attracting people to my channel. And so eventually I decided that I would curate a space that would allow us all, my subscribers and myself, to communicate with one another a little bit more consistently and in a more streamlined manner, because it's very one-sided, I would say, on YouTube. I am sharing content with you guys, and then you only get to communicate with me in the comments, right? But inside of a private space, aka a Facebook community, which is what I started, we were able to talk back and forth with one another. They were able to share their questions with me as well as the other members. And I was able to share video content, like short little clips. I could go live inside of that space. There was a lot that I was able to do inside of a Facebook community that I could not do on YouTube at the time. So I made the decision to open this Facebook community, and I basically made that a call to action inside of my YouTube videos. So instead of me always saying like, comment, subscribe, I would say click the link in the description to join my free Facebook community, where you'll get to connect with me and a bunch of other boutique owners and e-commerce brand owners all across the world. And so I quickly grew that group to over 14,000 people, and it was completely free. So the thing that I want you to know is that sometimes building community starts with you doing a lot of free work. And it wasn't that I was doing like hard work per se. It was just that I was willing to curate a space that provided all of my audience the room and opportunity to continue to learn, not just from me, but from each other. It allowed them to be able to converse with one another pretty much 24/7. And a lot of people grew their businesses exponentially in that free community before I ever started to coach or offer anything that was of a paid nature. So inside the group started growing really, really fast. And some of the people that were joining the group were not followers of my YouTube, because people who joined from my YouTube would recommend it to other people. And the group was public on Facebook. So basically, anytime someone searched the word boutique, it would show up in their search results. So we started to gain a bunch of group members, just organically every single day until it was up to like 14,000 people, which is insane. Eventually, it started to feel like work, okay? It was a lot of people tagging me every day, people asking me questions that really required like a full-blown tutorial that was going to require me to like dig a little bit more deeply into their business, just real work at that point, consulting, I guess you could say. And so I had a few options. I could do webinars, I could do masterclasses, I could create ebooks. I wrote a book at one point, or a couple of books actually. I could host events, so on and so forth. And I did all of those things. But at some point I decided that I wanted to create a paid membership. So there are a lot of Facebook groups or Facebook communities that are paid. You pay for it on an external source, and then they send you the link to join that Facebook community. I did not want to do that because I understood that I didn't own that space. And so if something were to happen, Facebook decides that they want to disband that group or they want to delete it, I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. And it would have been a lot of work to try to regain all of the people who, had paid to be there. So I decided to get a paid community on a platform called Mighty Networks. And I want to say I initially was paying them like $39 a month or something like that. And I literally just launched it to my community at the time. So I let them know, hey guys, I am creating this this paid membership, and this is what you can expect. So we are going to meet a couple times a month. We're going to talk about these things. I'm going to bring in guest experts, and basically I'm going to help you build this business. It started out as $47 a month, and I quickly grew it to a few hundred people. So no, I did not get 14,000 people to join the community, but I did get a few hundred people to join the community paying $47 a month. And the beautiful part about memberships is the recurring nature of the membership. So I like to call my membership the Netflix for boutique owners, because it's a subscription-based model and they are getting access to a bunch of trainings. So not only are they going to get access to the live trainings that we have throughout the months, they also get access to all of the past trainings that we've had. So when people join my membership, like if you join my membership today, you gain access to probably near 100 video lessons from myself and a bunch of guest experts that have joined us over the last 2 years for $47. So I started with, 1 month of a few hundred people paying me $47, and then it became 2 months of even more people paying me $47, and then 3 months, so on and so forth. And it grew every single month. So that is the cool part about having a membership. It's the recurring revenue that you get from it. So I didn't collect $750,000 from people paying me one time. I collected $750,000 from hundreds of people paying me a lot of times. And not everybody stays. So, when you sign up for a subscription, you have the choice to leave or cancel at any time. So there's definitely what's called a churn rate. People will leave, but then you have people that come back. And every month, the number is not the same. Sometimes the months grow and sometimes the numbers decrease month by month. It is part of the whole membership experience, but ultimately your job is to retain as many of your members as possible while also gaining new members every single month. So we set goals for how many people we want to join the community every month. And I still am doing the exact same thing that I was doing when I first started building a community. I'm still on YouTube, regularly sharing content with you guys for free, and then inviting you to join my membership. We do still have the Facebook group. I am not very active in the Facebook group anymore because I spend a lot of my time inside of the membership space that we've curated. And it just provides a way more organized experience for you to actually learn, instead of it being like, pure chaos inside of this space that you really can't curate to be exactly what you want it to be. So I want to share a little bit about how I made $750,000 making a community and building community over the last few years. Subscription-based platforms, they're all over. There's so many different ones to choose from. I went with Mighty Networks. Currently, I use a platform called Circle. I secretly hate it. I kind of want to go back to Mighty Networks, but it's all trial and error. You learn a lot from testing different platforms and things of that nature. But subscriptions is something that you can start in any type of business. It's really about you finding an audience of people who want what you have to offer and are willing to pay for that on a month-by-month basis. But the bigger part is you being able to fulfill that need and fulfill that desire every single month. So highly recommend starting a community or starting to build a community. Start out free and then build up to the paid, and you will see revenue outside of this world, I promise you. Now, in a future video, I'm going to tell you guys how I recommend that you go about creating community and give you some tips on how you can start building a community of your own, regardless of, if you're selling courses, digital products, physical products, so on and so forth. All of those can have a subscription-based model attached to it. So I definitely want to expose you guys to that in a future video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.